In her previous life, in order to save the son of the scheming woman, the president forcibly took one kidney from their daughter. As a result, their daughter unfortunately died of infection during the operation. What's more, on the day when their daughter was buried, he was still holding a grand birthday banquet for the scheming woman and her son, looking just like a happy family of three. Little did he know that his wife had fallen into deep despair. She took a bucket of gasoline and splashed it all over every corner of the house. The fire quickly spread, and soon the whole villa was burned beyond recognition. Hearing this news, the president rushed home in a panic. The scenes in front of him were beyond belief. Ignoring the obstruction of the staff, he tried to rush into the sea of fire, but it was already too late. His years of cold violence had already tortured his wife into a madwoman. It was only when he lost her that he fell into endless regret, because he had already unconsciously fallen in love with the girl. However, unexpectedly, the girl miraculously reincarnated 8 years ago, back to the day when everyone was condemning her. She knelt on the ground, waiting for judgment. It turned out that although the president had a girlfriend, they had never got married. The scheming woman, eager for a legitimate position, drugged him. Unexpectedly, the president, in a daze, went into the wrong room by mistake and had an encounter with the girl. As the girl had been secretly in love with the president for a long time, she didn't resist too much. However, the charge of trying to climb up the social ladder was then pinned on her. After that, she got married to the president because of the child she was carrying and gave birth to a daughter. Never had she expected that it would end up in such a tragic way. Now that she was reborn, the girl would rather die than admit the charge of being drugged. She took the initiative to distance herself from the president and kept calling him uncle instead. It was because her mother remarried and her stepfather happened to be the president's second elder brother. Hearing this address, the president was a bit surprised. But before he could react, the girl tried to match him up with the scheming woman and urged them to get married quickly. Then she turned around resolutely and left, going back to her own room. Her mother followed closely behind and reproached her daughter, asking if she was out of her mind. Such a good opportunity to marry into a wealthy family, why should she give it up? But the girl remained unmoved. The pain she had suffered in her previous life was still vivid in her mind. Just then, something suddenly occurred to her. So she asked her mother to help her buy a box of emergency contraceptives. She definitely couldn't get pregnant with the president's child again. Then the girl came to the living room, took one pill and swallowed it. Just as she was drinking water, everyone suddenly walked in. Her grandfather even sternly questioned her about what she was secretly taking. Without hiding anything, the girl showed them the contraceptive pill openly. However, the scheming woman was extremely shocked when she saw the words on the pill, because the words written on it were fertility drugs. The president spent a huge amount of money to buy an intelligent robot. It was an exact 1:1 replica of a real person. But one day, the president found that the robot could bleed and could even answer the phone by itself. To show off its various functions to its owner, she picked up a wine bottle and smashed it on her own head. As a result, she passed out from the pain in the next second. In fact, this robot was actually a real person. The president had an encounter with her 5 years ago. Because the president suffered from contact allergies and would pass out from an allergic reaction upon touching a human being, except for that woman from 5 years ago. However, he had never been able to find her whereabouts. That's why he asked a doctor to make a simulated robot. But on this day, the doctor accidentally discovered that the robot had a system malfunction. It didn't obey his commands and even made an unfriendly gesture. So angry was the doctor that he directly shut it down. At this moment, a delivery guy just walked in. He was shocked to find that the delivery guy looked exactly the same as his robot, just like a copy and paste version. Immediately, he asked the girl to pretend to be the robot and work, and directly handed her a bank card, promising her $1 million after the job was done. The girl didn't expect such a good thing and agreed right away. The doctor reinstalled the system for the robot and established a telepathic connection with the girl. If she was in danger and said okay, the robot would instantly appear in front of her. In this way, the girl officially started working. But as soon as she entered the door, the president saw the robot's phone ringing. The woman explained that for his better experience, she had everything that a human being had and could answer the phone on his behalf. In the next moment, she picked up an apple and started peeling it. As a result, she cut her finger with the knife. At this time, the young man realized that something was wrong because this robot was too much like a real person. The girl explained that the doctor had made special red oil for her to make her more in line with human body mechanics. Before long, the president brought over some disinfectant. The woman grimaced in pain but didn't dare to make a sound. Unexpectedly, the president still wanted to test whether physical attacks were fatal to the robot. The woman stopped him in time and said that she could demonstrate it to him herself. As a result, the girl passed out in the next second. The president thought she had crashed and was about to restart her, but he fumbled for a long time and didn't know where the restart button was. Finally, he pressed the woman's Adam's apple and she woke up. The woman knew that if she continued to pretend like this, she would definitely be exposed. She had to go to the hospital to check for a concussion first. So she lied that she needed to find the doctor to restart the machine. But the president insisted on sending her there. Just then, an assistant opened the door and accidentally pushed them against the door crack. In the next second, the president's admirer came to inquire about the matter of his chief secretary. The assistant said that the chief secretary had already been found. This made the scheming woman very angry, and she swore to find out the chief secretary who had taken her place. At this time, the girl directly pushed the president away. The assistant came forward to show concern but accidentally touched the young man's hand. Frightened, he immediately went to get medicine for the president. It wasn't until they saw the corpses that were instantly frozen on the road that everyone finally believed the doomsday cold wave had really come. Only the young man who had been reborn once was sitting in his room, eating delicious food unharmed. Looking at the terrible weather outside, the scheming man suddenly remembered that the young man had bought a lot of supplies a few days ago. So, at the instigation of the scheming man, everyone came to the young man's door together. Seeing the young man eating hot and delicious food leisurely, they began to knock on the doors and windows one after another, wanting the young man to let them in to warm up. The scheming woman was no longer as arrogant as before. She promised the young man that if he let them in, she would be his girlfriend. Seeing this, the young man just sneered. Remembering his past life, the young man had gone through countless hardships to find food for the scheming woman, but in the end, he was stabbed to death by her in the snow. The young man felt extremely disgusted, so he immediately refused. As soon as these words came out, the scheming woman became furious with embarrassment, but there was nothing she could do. Unexpectedly, the scheming man stood out at this time and cursed him for having no conscience. The angry young man picked up the food and put the trash can in front of him, saying that he would rather pour it into the trash can than let these scumbags have a bite. This move made everyone restless at once, but they could only watch helplessly as the food was poured into the trash can. This made the scheming man so furious that he wanted to snatch the young man's supplies. However, with one blow, he himself was thrown to the ground heavily and his hand was injured as a result. Seeing that the young man was not easy to mess with, the group of people followed the scheming man and left. Little did they know that they would never be able to wait for the day when the cold wave retreated. Soon, half a month later, because of the cold wave, there was almost no food left in the community. The scheming man took several old, weak, sick, and disabled people to search around for a long time and finally found half a piece of biscuit. It was far from enough for them to share. So the scheming man asked these people to bring weapons and come to the young man's door, wanting the scheming woman to use her beauty to tempt the young man to open the door. But the young man saw through their trick at a glance and guessed that he definitely didn't come alone. So, while gnawing on a lamb leg, the young man refused to open the door for the scheming woman. But the scheming woman couldn't wait to get in and take a bite of the lamb leg. She kept lying that there was only herself outside the door. In fact, at this time, the young man had already seen from the surveillance camera at the door that the man beside the scheming woman was eager to rush in. Every time this girl kills fish, she doesn't rush to start. Instead, she massages the fish for an hour first, because only in this way can she get the freshest fish meat when the fish is relaxed. Besides, her knife skills are so fast that even when the fish is left with only its skeleton, it can still swim out of the fish tank. Everyone who witnessed this scene was shocked. A kitchen helper, an assistant to the odd job workers in the kitchen, actually had such miraculous knife skills. However, they didn't know that the girl was no ordinary person. She was the most outstanding chef in the world. But she chose to announce her retirement at the peak of her career. After that, she came to work as a kitchen hand in a 5-star hotel. On her first day at work, her unique way of cutting vegetables was looked down upon by her colleagues, who thought she was a novice. Just then, the manager sent a message saying that someone was needed to be an assistant to the head chef. Everyone knew that the head chef had high requirements and none of them dared to go, so they recommended the girl to go and take the job. When she arrived at the main kitchen, as expected, she was looked down upon even before she started working. It happened to be a time when they were short of hands, so the head chef gave her a chance. Originally, everyone disliked her, but the sharp-eyed head chef was shocked to find that the shredded ginger she cut had a natural and smooth look. Each piece was like a work of art, and she cut it both quickly and well. However, the second-in-command was not happy about it, so he asked the girl to slice something with a thickness of no more than 2 millimeters. He originally wanted to make things difficult for the girl, but to his surprise, she finished it within 30 seconds. Even the head chef was a bit shocked by this scene. But this second-in-command always thought highly of himself. Unexpectedly, when the dishes were served, the guest turned out to be a judge from the World Food Association. She took just one bite and spat it out, thinking that the meat had a strong earthy smell and was too unpleasant to swallow. The only thing that won her praise was that the shredded ingredients were evenly cut. She thought it was a waste of such excellent knife skills. Just when everyone thought that the reputation of the hotel was doomed, a plate of plain boiled tofu on the table caught her attention. But just as she was about to take a spoon to taste it, she was stopped by someone.